We crumpled our paper, and it should have uniform crumples, not so many that it looks like an old map, but not so few that it didn't fracture or crack the wax on the surface. We fixed all of our tears, and before you do anything that's going to get your paper wet, make sure that you have burnished or polished the tape onto the back. You should have done that yesterday. Here's a piece of tape. I want to rub it on and make sure that it sticks. Just placing it on the paper is not going to be good enough for what we're going to be doing with it. Okay, so here's the front, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one or all three. We have red, and look at the red is still red. It hasn't been mixed with other colors, and we want to keep that. Here's the black, and it's still black. We don't want it to mix with the other colors. We'll keep it that way. And here's the blue. It's still blue. It hasn't mixed with the other colors, and we definitely want to keep it that way. So what I want to do is I want to get a little bit of the black on here. And this is not being used as paint. It is paint. It's being used as dye. But I want to apply it so that it goes into the cracks. Because remember, we're going to rinse all of this off. So this is definitely not about painting it. It's about dyeing the surface. If you put so much paint on the surface that there's paint standing, then it's going to mix up the colors for the next person who wants to use them. And we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to put a little black around the outside. And again, there shouldn't be any paint standing. I look here, and it's not shiny because all I did was dye the surface. You do not have to use all the colors. I have a feeling a lot of you will want to. I'll put a little blue here. I can overlap. If I put blue on top of the black, nothing will happen except that it'll mix up the blue. Whatever color you put on first, that's the color that's going to count. It's the color that's going to show. It's, as far as dye is concerned, it's first come, first served. So if the black gets there first, it will be black. If the red gets there first, it will be red. There's no point in painting a color on top of one you've already done. All that's going to do is mess up the colors for the next person who might want to use them. Now, I happen to be doing this at one station because the camera is set up at one station. We have 3 stations: the blue station, the red station, and the black station. You might have to stand in line for a station, so if you are taking your turn, I want you to make sure you're not wasting time. And we want to make sure that there is not a puddle of paint, because again, we're not painting the surface, we're dyeing the cracks. I thought that if I did black where the people were, it wouldn't show up very well. So I'm going to go ahead and use a contrasting color. And with the red, I can see through it. With this paint, if we don't rinse it off today, we can still rinse it off tomorrow. This is a different paint than I used for my demonstration. For that, that was ink, and ink dries permanently. This does not. Here we see a little bit of that color is mixing, so I'm going to be careful as I go around the edges that I don't mess it up for the next person who's going to use this. If that happens to you and you mess it up, go to the sink, rinse it off, so that the next person has all the same colors. This one, not so good anymore. This is full of the blue. If I put that back in there, the next person will not have red. So I'm going to take this to the sink, rinse it off, and bring it back to the station so the next person will have all the same colors to use that you did. This is ready. I can see through it. I should be able to see through it. And I just did that with my finger. I'm going to ask you not to, because it's going to get paint where it doesn't belong. Let's try to keep the paint where it belongs and protect your clothes, and we'll let the professionals do the rinsing.